welcome, Simon, to my, albeit somewhat humble garden in London.
I started my career, actually, I did a big change and I went and studied forestry as well as furniture making at a place called Hook Park, which was set up by John Makepeace, who's one of our top designer makers.
Know him.
And it was one of the most wonderful years of my life. We were amongst trees in Dorset, 350-acre woodland. We were growing trees, felling trees. We were then, converting them into timber and then making things from them. We're inspired by nature, without doubt. This seat here, the woodland seat, is made out of sweet chestnut. And if you look at a sweet chestnut tree, as it grows, it twists. And so if you look at this, every piece is twisting. And when I sort of sketched out this idea and showed it to the workshop, everybody's hands went into their heads. And I thought, we're never going to be able to do this. But we have some really sophisticated machinery. You've seen it, some 5-axis, which means basically cutters that will go in all directions. Quite terrifying sometimes. They are caged off, so you don't get too near.
One of the greatest things, the joys I have, is planting as many trees as possible.
Yeah, which is great.
And people used to say my carbon footprint was rubbish because I travelled so often to Hong Kong, and I said, look, you think your carbon footprint's rubbish, mine is very good. I've planted 900 trees.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think between ourselves, you work for the heritage,
Woodland Heritage,
Woodland Heritage, which is all about
growing our timber and growing trees for the future.
One of the projects we worked on at Riverdance, there, I challenged you with the dining table, and I said, dining tables. I think the important thing also about garden furniture, if I just go back to that, is it needs to look good all year round. Because ultimately, if you have a big chunk of furniture and it sits out in the garden and it's sort of looking at you and saying, aren't I a big chunk of furniture? You've not really you've not created a piece that can be used all year round.
Yeah. And I think that's the great thing about collaborating with you, Randle, is that you push us, and then we have a great design team. We employ 4 designers, one of them being a design intern, and so it's great that our sort of design philosophy then goes out to other organisations. Part of the design philosophy is longevity, so that is, there's no point in making things that aren't going to last. For me, it just seems counterintuitive. What's that word? Built-in obsolescence. That just infuriates me. It's so mad when the world has only got so many resources that people are building in some kind of obsolescence. So we're actually going the other way at the moment. We're trying to extend life all the time for our furniture. That's what our aftercare team are all about. And so the first challenge is working in wood is understanding how the wood behaves outside. And there's lots. It's actually far more complex than even I imagined at the beginning, because the wood swells, expands and contracts in different directions differently. So you have to know the cut of the wood that you're using. We only use the centre boards, and then you have to orientate it in the right way so that the water, water runs off, but also the outer part of the tree is not exposed upwards, because that's where the fissures come and it goes into there. So there's all of this orientation of timber that the guys right at the beginning, both designers and craftsmen, have to go through the difference between outdoors and indoors. And this, take a table like this. This is a real celebration of chestnuts. So this is a sweet chestnut. This is all from one big tree. And we've actually shown every one of these tables we make is different, because we're following the line of the grain to try and draw people's eye to it, so they get a little bit more curiosity and don't just think of it as somewhere to put their coffee cup or whatever, but actually look and explore the features of the tree and the timber, because it tells such a story. They have this sort of almost ribbon-like edge to it, which goes and changes angle as it goes around the table, and then the twisting feet and quite a complex steam vent frame underneath, and then the adjustable feet so that it doesn't rock. So all of these things sort of elevate this from just being a standard coffee table to something that is almost sculptural and has an interest to it. And I think, one of our purposes, I explained after the pandemic to our team, everybody was looking for purpose. And you're in the same business we are. The more time people spend outdoors, I'm convinced the better they become as people. So,
absolutely.
if we can draw people to spend more time outdoors, then our purpose is a good one, because people are spending more time and becoming the better for it. So all of these things, and elevation is a good word to use in the outdoor space, because then it is that's our purpose, really, is to elevate that space.
But I think going back to what we were talking earlier on about Wishhanger, I mean, there, just like that day when I was walking through the woodland, coming back up the lower bit of the woodland by the lake, and there was this big tree trunk. It was just sat there, and it's sort of looking rather, as they do, quite lonely.
Yeah.
And that's when I suddenly thought, ooh, could we not do something with this? And it was just that sort of moment of inspiration, said, I fancy that we could come up with a throne.
Yeah.
And we have.
Yeah.
And you cut steps. It's a completely dead tree.
Yeah.
But you cut steps in the root trunk, of the lower part of the root. So we've got steps going up to the throne.
Yeah.
Which does comfortably sit two people, even though I hogged it all myself for myself. What is even more challenging, which is this being developed into
a moving wave,
yeah.
And it is a tremendous piece, and actually that challenged us in lots of ways, because every single one of these is a different piece. There's not apart from the seat slats, which has got a bit of repetition, nothing else is repeated. So to extend it, make it different dimensions, you're starting again, really. And because it's so long, it's 3 times the length of this. You can't. The longest we can steam bend is 3 meters. It wouldn't go the full length, so we had to put a central piece in to bring it together. And when the guys originally drew up, I've got a very good team of
Charlie,
designers.
you mean?
Charlie and Dane, actually, the new guy. There was something. It was too regular, and it was too. The middle looked weak, basically. And I sort of thought of it as this is a woodland, like a wood. And if you consider these as almost like trunks, these large legs, I mean, there's the mother tree in the middle of the back now. We've got this huge piece of oak that curves up and turns round as it goes. And that gave us the mass to come off as the structural core of the seat, if you like. So it's got a different feel. That's a really lovely piece of oak, but we couldn't get chestnut in that size. So it's actually interesting as well. It combines oak and chestnut, which are my 2 favourite woods anyway. So that's nice, and they're both notably durable outside. So we've got some large pieces in oak, and then the rest is in chestnut.
So the marriage of oak and chestnut.
Yeah, exactly.
finally happens.
And they often grow together, as you see in Wishhanger Wood. There are both chestnut and oak trees growing. Yeah. So it's a really nice combination.
But I think the other ones we've done there, I mean, it's amazing, very, very, very interesting that we've managed to put so many different style of benches in there, apart from one of the first ones was the curved one up at the main house. Yeah. But then there's the other ones where we've got the step-ups to the sort of semi-circular. We've got one which is a totally circular seat.
Yes.
And then we've got the other one with the gnarled knuckles of the lower part of the tree, which we now step up to. Yeah. And that's
an incredible tree.
But that in itself had to be made to custom fit.
Oh yes.
Well, they all have to be made to custom fit, but a circular bench is a circular bench, but these are more than just a circular.
This is where technology has really helped us, because we were able to 3D scan
yes, I remember,
the whole trunk, and we got these amazing scans that you see them sometimes on TV now. Sometimes you're exploring the underneath of Rome or something. Well, we thought, let's have a go at this, and it's amazing because you come out and you place this special camera in different points, and then they build this 3D image, and then we can import that into our CAD program, and you know exactly where all the roots are and the profile, so then you can start creating where the seat will go and exactly how it's going to look, and interact with the tree, which is really important with the tree seat. Obviously, you don't want to detract from the tree. You're trying to, again, enhance enhanced it, and that particularly, I think the Burr one was more challenging than the one that went all the way round.
No, definitely.
Because it had this, and it's a protrusion. The trees, sometimes they're sort of collapsing on themselves. It's the weight pushing down, and then it creates this sort of bulge around the bottom. But it's amazing. It just draws your hand to it. So tactile. Old trees. I've actually brought a bit of an old tree here. This is off a tree I encountered in Mockers Park, which is up in Herefordshire. It's 960 years old, and that was just on the ground beneath. I had to pick it up. Yeah,
you didn't chisel it off the tree.
I wouldn't dare put it off. But it's just that longevity, that texture. You feel, we talk about it in our little brochure and leaflet. It's a piece of time. A piece of wood is a piece of time. For us, things have to be comfortable and practical.
When you move your back on this, that these beautifully shaped pieces would actually do quite nice massage. And I think almost the seat itself, it's just so beautifully, scooped that it does everything.
I have to thank John Makepeace for a lot of that. He's famous for the ergonomics of his seats. And I remember when we started out with Christian Gaze, he designed our original court seat, and it has this steam vent flared back, all there to hug your back.
How does the pop-up shop work in comparison to talking to clients and having more time to explain the lifestyle that they're buying into?
Exactly. Well, I think it's great. I mean, being in the heart of Chelsea, it's in Chelsea Barracks, which is a stone's throw from the Chelsea Showground, has really paid off, because what's been very interesting about Chelsea Barracks is the people who walk in don't know us, and that's great. This is fantastic. We're reaching a new audience, and that's our long-term ambition, is to grow the audience that we have, so that they can see us and experience it, because we have a beautiful location and setup in Hampshire, which people are very welcome to come to, but it is, it's an hour and a half on a good run out of London. Working with you, Randle, is one of our, you are one of our top clients consistently over the years, and we continue to enjoy being challenged, and so let's carry on.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here and for sharing this moment and your wonderful furniture in my garden.